You know things are off script when a Republican congressman in Nebraska is asked, unironically, how much does fascism cost? And the most reassuring response he can muster is, fascists don't hold town halls. Welcome to Ruptured Mike Flood's Political Theater of the Absurd, where legislative ambiguity meets hometown fury. The scene, Lincoln, Nebraska. The players, 750 constituents armed with facts, fury, and the unforgiving acoustics of a recital hall. The issue, a $1 trillion spending bill that slashed Medicaid and SNAP while promising trickle-down prosperity and unspecified greatness. Flood defended his vote for the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill as a fiscally responsible choice. He promised that vulnerable populations are protected. But when you're defending a $1 trillion Medicaid cut by saying it still covers pregnant people, you might be giving off more Dickensian workhouse vibes than Reagan-era optimism. The congressman also fielded Epstein conspiracy queries, dodged job number controversies, and fumbled a defense of Project 2025, the increasingly notorious policy blueprint criticized for containing plans that allow the executive branch to override court orders. Asked if he read those sections, Flood replied, more or less, I didn't get to that part. It's part of a growing genre, the anti-Reid politician. First came bills no one read, then came manifestos no one admits to writing. Now we have elected officials proudly skimming documents that change the country. At this point, our national motto might as well be E pluribus cliff notes. Flood's defense was familiar. Blame the last administration, appeal to local values, and repeat talking points like a sentient teleprompter. But the crowd wasn't having it. They heckled. They chanted, vote him out. Some even asked coherent policy questions, which in today's town hall climate is basically political assault. What's striking isn't the chaos. It's where it's happening. Nebraska isn't exactly Berkeley. When Midwestern voters start chanting slogans usually reserved for Manhattan marches, something deeper is happening. This wasn't partisan noise. It was accountability. Flood, like many in the GOP establishment, is discovering that riding the Trump-era populist wave while tethered to establishment policies is like surfing a tsunami with a briefcase. You either wipe out or end up explaining trillion-dollar cuts to Medicaid while grandma boos from the back row. As for the broader implications, the erosion of trust in institutions, the weaponization of political vagueness, and the collapse of civic norms continue to blur the line between representative democracy and theatrical performance art. And in this act, Flood wasn't the hero. He wasn't even the villain. He was the guy who didn't read the script. And the audience, they want to rewrite. But Mike Flood is far from alone in facing the music. Across the country, a growing number of Republican lawmakers are discovering that aligning with extreme policy shifts or rubber stamping sweeping legislation without scrutiny is triggering a voter backlash that doesn't care how red the district is. In Colorado, Representative Lauren Boebert has been heckled by her own constituents for her antics and positions. In Florida, Senator Rick Scott was pressed on Medicare privatization. In Arizona, even once loyal Republican voters have confronted Representative Andy Biggs over threats to democratic norms. From California's Central Valley to Ohio's suburbs, town halls are becoming minefields, not meet and greets. What's changed isn't just policy, it's expectation. Constituents want clarity, honesty, and a basic sense that their representatives are reading the things they vote on, that they understand the consequences, that they're not just background players in a Washington reality show directed from Mar-a-Lago. The GOP's problem isn't just messaging, it's receipts. Constituents are keeping them, and they're showing up not to be managed but to demand answers. If Nebraska's raucous recital hall is any indication, the next wave of accountability won't come from committees. It'll come from cafeterias, gymnasiums, and town halls where Americans are no longer willing to be passive extras in someone else's script.